Mangrove forests are productive ecosystems and provide critical services that benefit all of us. They protect shorelines, mitigate storm surge and winds to protect the coastal communities from storm threats, control erosion, improve water quality, and provide nursery for biologically and economically important species. A 2009 report showed that mangroves, through tourism creation, fisheries, and shoreline protection, contribute some $174 to $250 million per year to Belize's economy. But despite the important frontline roles they play, mangroves take the hardest hit from natural disasters and coastal developments. And to find out the state of Belize's mangroves, the Belize Audubon Society ordered a study. There's good news for the mangroves within the Belize Barrier Reef System, but for other coastal areas, it's not so good.
The idea of the study was we wanted to know a status of the mangrove within the Belize Barrier Reef, and then we wanted the bigger, wider context. The bigger, wider context is not surprising to many of us. It really did flag the hot spots that we know where development is occurring in Ambergris Key, Placencia, and Belize City, obviously. Our specific interest, which was the Belize Barrier Reef Reserve System, the World Heritage Site, what we saw in the study is actually very positive. We have seen that there is minimal change in mangroves since the inscription on the endangered list. So this positive result has been shared with the relevant government entities who are also part of the ad hoc steering committee for this project, and they are submitting it now to the UNESCO in our state of conservation report, where we are now saying that since the inscription to now, so the past 7 years, we have seen negligible or minimal mangrove change. So that is one more checklist, one more checked item in terms of the status of mangrove in the country.
The researchers used satellite imagery from NASA to look at changes within the mangrove ecosystems. The study looks at the mangroves from 1980 to 2017. Researcher Emil Charrington says that Belize still has about 95% of its mangrove cover since the 1980s. One of the protected sites within the Belize Barrier Reef Reserve System shows notable clearing of mangroves. Outside of the World Heritage Site, the study shows that several coastal areas have recorded significant mangrove clearing because of development.
There has been minimal clearing within the World Heritage Site across Belize, though. However, outside of the World Heritage Site, mangrove clearing is still an issue. Right now, Belize still has roughly 95% of the mangrove cover it had in 1980, again, according to the satellite imagery. However, the country probably doesn't want to go the route of some of our neighbors in other Central American countries where, for instance, El Salvador, I think the studies indicate that over a 50-year period lost half of their mangrove cover. And again, mangroves are important, economically in terms of the protection they provide to, our areas, etc., and also, tourism, biodiversity values. There are 7 protected areas which are part of the Belize Barrier Reef Reserve System World Heritage Site. Of those 7 areas, only one of those, the Saltwater Key Marine Reserve, actually had any detectable clearing, no? And so that's also a positive thing. Because again, we're only seeing clearing in one of those. Over the 37-year period we looked at, the 3 main areas that had the most clearing would be around Belize City, around Ambergris Key, and around Placencia. There's practically clearing across the country, but in these areas it's where you have concentrated clearing. In Belize City, most people realize places like Belama, Bella Vista, Vista del Mar outside of Belize City, but would be used to actually be mangrove, and as the city has expanded, it's expanded into those mangroves. No?
For the areas that we've seen, where we've lost significant mangrove cover, are we talking about it being as a result of land development? Definitely
as a result of land development. Mangroves aren't clearing themselves, it's people who are clearing the mangroves, and they're being cleared again for the most part to, I guess, put in housing developments on the islands. What we're seeing likely for resorts or hotels or whatever, that's what seems to be happening.
Reporting for News 5, I'm Andrea Polanco.